Hi Gator fans, Team ESPN here, George Pappas, joined by Mark McLeod and Jennifer Eckhart to talk a little bit about Gator football, a little bit past the halfway point of the season. Guys, welcome.
Welcome. Hi, I'm Mark.
I'm Jennifer.
I had to do that.
Guys, a lot to talk about as the Gators are kind of in a bit of a sticky situation here heading into round two.
Yeah, they really are. And it's been a lot of things. You can't really point your finger at one particular issue with the team. There are many issues, and you know, I know Gator fans are very disgusted as the coaches are very frustrated trying to find answers. But, you know, I think it all goes back to, guys, the one thing that we've been saying since January, and that is this team has more questions than answers going into the season. And I think the coaches are slowly, and probably too slowly for a lot of people out there, but slowly, despite injuries, despite scholarship limitations, trying to find some of those answers.
Well, you know, Mark, I liked what you had said previously about it being, you know, like last Saturday's game against Auburn. Every team so far that the Florida Gators have, you know, played, they're all very talented, except they're all very young. They're young guys. Does the whole young factor have anything to do with last Saturday's performance or in the future?
Again, it sounds like an excuse, but it's true. You're down to 74 scholarships. You've got injuries at key positions, including the Brantley position. And in my perspective, I'd love to get your take on it, but I really believe Florida would have had a good chance of beating Auburn had Brantley been in there, because we saw the young quarterbacks do some things that young quarterbacks do. But we've not seen John Brantley do in the four-plus games that he was able to play in this year.
I agree entirely. It's one of those things where John Brantley has ascended into the type of quarterback that everybody seemed to hope that he would since Charlie Weiss arrived here on the scene at Florida. It's something that he definitely could have done. Obviously, he broke Tim Tebow's high school passing records and obviously had the propensity to do the same type of thing here at Florida. And again, we saw that sort of thing basically through those first 4 games, heading into Alabama. Some signs of it in the first half against Alabama, and you know, then again, once beyond that injury, it's like, okay, you see Jacoby Brissett in there, you see Jeff Driscoll in there, and you do see the happy feet, some poor decision making there, invading the pocket, trying to stretch the play, and just making some mistakes, as to be expected from a young quarterback. So it is one of those things where it's an unfortunate situation for Florida that they're without, you know, their quarterback that had, you know, some experience, a season under his belt at the helm there, but something that you just have to move past.
And you know what, George, aside from, you know, losing Brantley, which obviously was a major blow to the Florida Gators, I also think as far as the coaching staff is involved, they need to do a better job communicating with each other. Last Saturday's game proved that their offense is extremely stagnant. They just need to get more synchronized. I really believe that. What do you think, Mark?
You know, I think you're working through that a little bit. I do think there have been certain times when it's looked that way on the sideline, but I think, again, the youth is is the number one issue. Another issue, guys, turnovers. When you have a team that cannot secure turnovers like this team is, and they're -7 right now, which, as you mentioned being off camera, was 11th in the SEC. They may be 12th right now in the Southeastern Conference. That plays a huge role in what's going on with this football team, because I think this defense has grown up a little bit, and I think we're seeing some guys emerge here and there, not consistently, and consistency is the key. When you're talking about youth and you sound like you're making the excuse, what it is consistency, and veteran players make plays and consistently make good plays. Maybe not every play, but to consistently make good plays.
Well, guys, the Gators have 3 SEC games left on their schedule, 2 out-of-conference games, including FSU. What are you saying, or what's the key to success as we look at the rest of the bill? Mark, start with you.
Well, actually, starting with Furman, I don't think we really have anything to worry about on that front, but you can continue, Mark.
Very nicely played.
We don't, really? Come on, let's be positive here.
Yeah, very good. We got to be.
We have some things to look forward to with the rest of the continuation of the season.
I think one thing that I would like to see is, and again, he's been nicked up, he's had some ankle issues, but Mike Gillisley, more of Mike Gillisley in the early stages of the ball game. I'd like to see what happens, you know. And I think probably, I wonder if the Florida coaches are at that point where they'd like to see what happens as well. Again, I've been doing this for a few years, and I've talked to several offensive linemen. Yes, I'm old. And I've talked to several offensive linemen who have blocked for guys like Ernest Grant and some of these very talented University of Florida running backs. And you know, one thing that they say is how much fun it is to block for a guy that you know can get that extra push and get that yard. And maybe you're at 3rd and 1 or a short yardage situation. Or I've even had guys tell me, hey, look, I'm not going to have this guy running up my back. And they've experienced that in practice. They don't like it. They don't want it to happen in games. So they're going to give it a little extra, the old college try, if you will, to make sure they get out of the way and get that guy out of the way.
Stemming on the point that you had about Gillisley, he's the type of runner that definitely does contribute a different style of run game to Florida, whereas you have guys like Rainey, guys like Demps, who can stretch a big play even on a screen pass, something short outside, really exploit those matchups, going head-to-head with a safety or a cornerback downfield when you do have the blocking available. Obviously, as you said, that comes from really establishing the pass game, or in this case, re-establishing the pass game.
Very true.
And if you don't have it, which has, at the current state, Florida doesn't, that's when I think it would be valuable to turn to a guy like Gillisley, who does, contribute to a degree more of a power running game, which that's something where you look at, say, Alabama, and you have a two-pronged attack of a guy like Trent Richardson or Eddie Lacy, who can eat up 8 yards, 7 yards every carry going right up the middle. You're not going to get that from a guy like Jeff Demps. You're not going to get that from a guy like Chris Rainey. And just as you said, you very well can get that sort of thing, that kind of push, if you will, from a guy like Mark Gilson. Well, the Gators, of course, have 2 weeks to go to prep for the big game in Jacksonville against the Dogs. Then after that, it's the rest of the way of the season. So only time will tell what they're going to have to be up against here, guys. So, reporting for Team ESPN, this is George Pappas.
Mark McLeod.
And Jennifer Eckhart.
We'll see you in the swamp.